She might not come.
Why is there
Something goes down today.
Emmy's not here, so I'm recording the lesson.
Oh. Where's their video camera?
There's not a video camera. It just records. If you are absent, or if you, it's best to email me or let me know in advance. So if you're going to miss due to sports, or if you're sick, I can record the lesson. It just records like my writing and my voice. There's no camera that nobody can see you.
You might be.
Nobody can see you.
you.
Okay, so let's talk about distance on a number line, right? So when we're looking at how long a segment is, right, we are going to subtract the two coordinates, and I put them in absolute value. Why is it an absolute value? Anybody? Can you have something negative 3 inches?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Wait, I need anything negative.
Right. So
This case
it.
We get cards and write it down. Or are we not supposed to?
So this is for your. I did the first 2 days together.
Oh, so like we can't do it.
You can, if you can write fast enough, you could do it on.
I just don't have cards.
Is this called distance?
Yeah.
How do we know them as case of what to write on?
Oh, can I have the cards?
That's too bad.
So that's for you to figure out, because what you might want to write more than what somebody else might want to write.
May I please have a card? Wait,
Yeah.
two cards. Two cards.
You asked for like nice.
So I would probably put. Okay.
Okay, sorry. I'm so
All
sorry.
right. Let's not talk over me. I would put distance on a number line, and then maybe draw this picture. And doesn't matter what order we subtract the numbers, makes no difference as long as you make sure to take the absolute value so that you end up with a positive distance. Okay. Do you want a minute to write?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, can you write what we should write? Is it called distance formula?
What I highlighted is what you should put. So I would put this on the front, this here, distance on a number line, and then I would put that on the back. Okay. You don't need to write it out in words unless you want to. Often I think it's just easier just to write the PQ is x2 minus x1 in absolute value. Okay, what does it? Okay, there was a difference. What does it? Okay, but it's not just the line segment, it's the distance between the 2 points. Remember last class, we talked about the difference between, this is referring to the line,
Miss Casey, can I borrow these?
this is segment, and then this is, when there's nothing above it, this is the distance between the 2 points, or the length of the segment.
How would you know which one to do?
Okay, so if there's nothing above, so take a look at our first example. It says KM. There's nothing above it. So when there's nothing above it, that's referring to the length of the segment.
Never mind.
All right, so take a look, KM. K is at -4, right? And M is at 2. Now, you can just count the number of spaces in between, but what if I gave you a decimal or a fraction, right? That's not going to be as easy to figure out. So if I just take 2 minus -4, so that's going to give me, so 2 minus a -4, that'll give me plus. So it'll just be 6. Now, what if I just subtracted the opposite? -4 minus 2?
Does it matter?
That would be -6. Take the absolute value. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter.
Subtract one from the other.
Yep.
That's
Is
it.
there any case where it will matter?
Not on these. Okay. JM.
Wait, don't say it after.
Okay.
So absolute. Wait, so we would do. Can I do it?
So when we take the absolute value, we're saying the distance of it. You're thinking, that's when we solve absolute value. We don't need to worry about that.
So for this, like, I don't really understand.
Okay, take one of the points. It doesn't matter which one you put first. So which one do you want to do first?
J, minus.
But JM, there's, J is at -7 and M is at 2.
So what would it do? Plus 2 or just minus -2? But it's not a negative.
So you want to do, so you want to start with -7
Yeah.
minus 2. It's not minus a -2. It's
But the 2's positive.
right. So, but we're going to subtract 2. So that's going to give us the absolute value of -9, which gives us +9.
This is so easy.
Okay. All right. Now,
That's what we're being quizzed on.
-5 and 9. Does it matter which one we put first? Makes no difference. So let's say I put -5 minus 9 in absolute value. What's -5 minus 9?
14.
-14, and then we want to make the absolute value, make it positive. So when we take the absolute value of something, we just always make it positive. Okay, this one gets a little more complicated because we have fractions. So I have -1/2 minus -5/8. What happens? Subtract a negative becomes positive. Okay. How do I combine -1/2 and +5/8? Jason?
Well, I would take -1/2 to make it 4 -4/8,
Good. So we can multiply by,
and then
so that will be -4/8 plus 5/8.
Yeah.
And what's that end up?
-1.
So we make it, we're always going to make it positive though.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Wait, minus 4.
Questions? So you just subtract them and then make it positive. That's all you need to remember. Okay. Pythagorean theorem. Do you remember Pythagorean theorem? Okay.
That
What is,
Squared plus B squared.
there you go.
Huh?
Max said it.
Squared plus B squared equals C
I
squared.
hate this so much.
Okay. A squared plus B squared, let's not hate. Okay, equals C squared.
Strongly dislike.
C is always what we call, shh, stop talking, hypotenuse. Shh. So I don't have a smiley face on here. If you want to, you can.
Smiley face? What?
There's no card requirement for this one. Okay,
That's my favorite word. Hypotenuse.
hypotenuse. What's that?
I don't know what. The largest side.
Okay, so first thing we need to
It's
do
always the C squared.
is going to graph. Okay, so let's put our points. 5, 1. So here's R. And -3 is S. Okay.
Wait, can I? Wait,
Okay.
Is that,
How do you get the-
what is that? It's negative
this is
3, 1, 2.
Mm-hmm. -3, and 5, 1. Okay, now what we want to do, we're going to connect those two. Right? So here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find the length of that segment, but we can count over and we can count up, but we can't count diagonally. All right, that doesn't make sense. So what we're going to do is we want to make a right triangle.
Are we doing right or left?
Not for this, not for this. Here we just want to make a right triangle. So here's what I'm going to do. From R, or from S, I'm going to go over.
Can you go up?
Yeah, you can do an
For the
upside down.
test- For the test, do we need the ruler for this?
You don't, but I have them available.
Wait, how do you know when to go? Like where to go?
Well, you don't want to go, you want to make it a right triangle. So go over and then go up. Now, what I want to do is I want to count the number of squares. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I have like a
It should go right to this point though.
No, like,
Oh, wait.
Uh,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then if we count up, this is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Just count the amount of units.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
well, what are we trying to find? We're trying to find C. So it doesn't matter which ones you make A or B.
Don't we have
Okay.
to do like?
So this, we'll say this is A and this is B. Nope, nope. We're doing A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 8 is A, B is 4, and C is what I'm looking for. So that's where we substitute in 8 squared plus 4 squared equals C squared. So we're trying to figure out what C is equal to.
Wait, see like the diagonal.
C is always going to be the diagonal line. So this is going to be 64 plus 16, and we get 80.
Wait, if we were to do it up,
Wait, what time
would be
was
the
it?
diagonal one still?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go ahead and take the square root. Now, what I want to do is I want to simplify the square root of 80. So this is where we do the factor tree,
Can you
right?
just press the square root button on the calculator?
There's sometimes where I want a decimal, and sometimes I want like the square root, the simplified square root.
Remember these? How do you turn that into doubles?
Wait. Can you,
That was so funny.
Mm-hmm.
wait, so if you were to use a calculator to find the square root,
Wait, what
That'd
is
be-
that?
It's a factor
I've never
tree.
used that in my life.
really?
Have you simplified radicals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's so radical.
4 square root of
The other, yes, 4 times the square root of 5. The other way we can do it is we can think, what's the largest perfect square that goes into 80? It's 16. So 16, square root of 16. That's
On the
fine.
outside,
That's
5 on
fine.
the inside.
4 on the outside, 5 on the inside.
Oh, because it's 2 times 2
Wait,
is 4.
I don't understand this.
Because there's a double.
Okay, listen.
definitely did it
Oh,
So listen,
Oh.
if there's something that you should have learned last year in algebra, but you don't quite remember it, that's when you come to bonus, okay? Because I can't take time out to review. Sometimes we'll have time to review certain algebra topics. Everyone should have learned a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We did that last year.
That was the
All
best
of us,
Bible.
you in the front, we had this also, right? Simplifying radicals. So if you don't remember how to do it, come see me at bonus, all right? Okay, all right. This next one is probably a new one.
Wait, so the answer is just 4 root 5?
Mhm.
That's it?
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, but how did you get 5? Sorry.
There's a 5 left over. 2 and 2, and you had a 5 left over. So 2 times 2 is 4. You put the, okay. All right, this is distance formula, but on a coordinate plane. Okay, so this formula, some of you might have learned, some of you might not have, okay? It's called the distance formula, and it's specifically,
It's a smiley face one.
it is a smiley face one,
Wait, what do you mean smart?
card. So if you have 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2, this is the formula, okay? This one I definitely want you to know.
Do we write what you highlighted on the front of the card?
Yeah, I would put this on the front, and then I would put this on the back. It's up to you. I don't think you need to draw a picture for this one, but if you want to, you can. I would just write the formula, to be honest. Just the formula.
Wait, so the formula is the PQ thing?
Yeah. Or you can use the lowercase letter d for distance, if you want. Okay. That's why I have up here a lowercase d. So if you don't have the names of the points, then we just use the lowercase d.
Like, this shouldn't be too easy.
This is not that hard. It's just plugging into a formula, and then we're going to simplify it.
What's below sea level?
Okay. You need a minute for the flashcard? That's fine. Just want to make sure we have enough time to get through everything. Okay, so we want to use distance formula. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to label, you know when you do like slope and things like that,
So intercept form.
that kind of stuff? So first we're going to label x1, y1 for the first point, and the second point is going to be x2, y2.
I never liked
Okay. All right. Now, the points are D and E. So I'm going to put DE with capital letters because that's representing the distance between the 2 points. And then we're going to make a big square root sign. All right. In the first set of parentheses, what am I going to, I want to take x2 minus x1. So that's going to be 8 minus negative 5. Good. So that'll turn it into a plus 5.
this. Can I do like the first one?
Yeah, that's fine. And then we have y2, so that's negative 4 minus y1.
Are you gonna go with the formula on the test? No. Oh.
All right. So this is going to give us,
Wait, I don't get why you have 5 there.
okay, so 8 minus negative 5. So that becomes 8 plus 5. So that's going to give us 13 squared. And then negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10 squared.
Can you like put on the board all of the formulas so I can just write it on my card so I can know
Ma-
exactly?
If we have time at the end. Yeah.
Okay. So if we're going to mark.
Pardon? No.
Still.
Okay, good.
Oh.
And this one, just to save some time, it does not simplify, so we're just going to leave it like that. Okay, you can try to break it down, but it will not.
I have too much that I need help with to go grab on it. So.
Okay, that's an email to see if there's another time to set up. Okay, let's go ahead and try this one. So this one has points G and H. Okay. We don't have a lot of time to slow down because I need to get to midpoint yet. Okay.
Wait a lot.
Listen, just keep referring back to that formula.
It's gonna have to transfer curves.
So
No.
x2 minus x1. So what's going to go in the first set of parentheses? 8 minus, it's minus, right? So 8 minus 2.
It's always minus, right?
It's always minus. 6 minus 0.
Oh, I thought it was plus.
No, it's minus.
It's
Look.
always minus.
Oh, right.
The only time it turns into plus is if you subtract a negative, right? Then then it changes.
Oh, wait, is it ever gonna just leave it? Or let's just leave it in this square thing?
Yeah, if it doesn't simplify. So this is going to be 6 squared plus 6 squared.
So that's just 36 plus 36.
Good. And 30.
It's actually not too bad if you have the formula memorized.
Exactly. It's the same thing over and over again.
Except if you do a little. Are you gonna make the problems a bit more challenging?
Samantha?
These are going to be
No, we don't need. Yeah, we don't need more.
so
I think this is.
if you know the other way, and I taught you guys 2 different ways. We did the factor tree, or we rewrote it to take the largest perfect square, right? 36 times 2 is 72. What's the square root of 36? It's 6. So that's another way. So if you don't like to do the factor tree, you can just divide it by the largest perfect square.
8 times 9 also 72.
Yeah, and then you do the factor tree. You should get the same answer at the end. Okay? Question? But you have a square root of 2 left over. Okay?
That's 5 and then 8. Wait, how did you?
No, multiply. 6. 3 times 2, Samantha.
Why do you have to multiply it?
Because the same reason we always multiply them outside and we multiply them inside.
Oh, right. I tried to multiply, but I added.
Okay? Okay, midpoint. This is easier, I promise. Okay? Easier than.
6 and 8.
No, you should have a 2 left.
Cause look, I
Because
got.
look, no, you have a 2 left over. 2 times 3 is 6 with a
But
2
then there's
left
also
over.
4 left.
No, because the 4 broke down.
We're gonna be allowed to use our flashcards.
No,
Ever? Wait, you said we have like one open note test.
I didn't say that.
I think
Like
we should
last
do that
year.
open note test for the fun.
Does that have to be a better quiz?
Okay, so next we have midpoint. Okay, guys, we can't keep pausing like this, so you're gonna have to keep up. There is another, if this class is too much, there is a geometry fundamentals. So just keep that in mind. I'm not trying to kick anyone out, but I need to keep up a certain pace. Okay, so midpoint is, what do you think the midpoint will be? Right in the middle, okay? So that these two are equal to each other, okay? And I really would probably just write the whole thing. Notice it uses the word between, meaning it has to be collinear. Remember between?
Between us?
Betweenness? We had,
Venus, it doesn't matter where in the middle it is.
right. In this case, it has to be between, and we need to make sure that those two parts are equal.
Got it. So midpoint, right between this, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter exactly.
Got it.
Wait.
You also have it right there in your notes. You can come back and do the cards. We're not always going to have time to do the cards in class.
Yeah.
Wait, what
Okay.
should we write about the midpoint?
It's just in between.
Okay, this is a definition, and then we have the formulas. So you have 2 different formulas on a number line. Okay, when you think of something right in the middle, right? Let's say you had 2 grades. You had an 80 and a 90%. What would be the middle of that? 85. So how did you figure out it would have to be 85 right between an 80 and a 90? You just, it's right in the middle. Could you also add them and divide by 2?
Yeah,
What do we
definitely.
call that?
So it doesn't have to be
Average. So the midpoint,
Should the formula and definition be 2 different cards?
yeah,
So the midpoint's like the average.
yeah, this is the average.
Wait, then what's the formula?
Okay.
Oh my god, what's this?
Okay, on a coordinate plane, now you have 2 points. You have 2 x values and 2 y values.
We have mouthful.
Yes. Okay. We have 2 formulas for distance and we have 2 formulas for midpoint. This is when it's on a number line. This is when you see the x1 plus x2 divided by 2. So we're taking the average of the x's. We're taking the average of the y's. Yeah.
Should
Yeah.
we do 3 different flashcards then? So midpoint formulas and then.
Yeah, you can do that. That's up to you. I probably would. I'd probably make these 2 separate.
Okay, I'm just gonna do that at home.
I don't get
Yeah.
the on the cord and that looks very.
It's just on like a graph.
On a graph, do you see? Right? We have these 2 points. So we have to take the average of the x's. So we're going to add the x's, divide by 2. And then we're going to take the average of the y's. So we're going to add those and divide by 2. We can come back. I just want to make sure that we have enough time to finish. You have it on your notes. Okay, find the midpoint of
Everything in.
negative 3 and 7 on the number line. Okay, midpoint is average. How do we find the average of negative 3 and 7? Mia? Good, so I have a negative 3 plus 7 divided by 2. What's negative 3 plus 7?
Well,
4.
I knew that.
Divide by 2. 2.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, we're just adding. Think distance formula, we subtract them. With midpoint, we add and divide by 2.
Is this gonna be a question? Just average, just find out.
Yeah, find the mid. It'll just say, it won't say average though, it'll say midpoint.
Wait, so it's negative 3
It was plus 7
over 2.
divided by 2. Okay, first thing I'm gonna do Okay.
Like, scroll for a second.
Okay, now I have an x1, a y1, an x2, and a y2. How do I find the average of the x coordinates? Average of the x coordinates.
Average of 5.
Okay, so here, what are the two x coordinates?
-1
So -1 plus 6 divided by 2. Then we're going to put a comma because it's going to be an actual point. Okay, so are we okay so far?
Yeah, then 2 plus 6.
Good, 2. So now I'm combining the 2, wait, which, the 2 and the y
2 plus
coordinates, the
1
2 and the 1. So I have 2 plus 1 divided by 2. Okay. -1 plus 6,
5.
5.
I'll write 2.
Good. And we could just leave it like that. We can just leave it like that. If you want, you could change it to 2.5. You can change it to 2.5. I much prefer leave it like this. It's less work anyway, right?
Can I just do 2.5 or 1.5?
Yeah, we could do that too. So this one will be 3/2. And that's it. You just leave it.
That's it?
Oh.
See, I told you midpoint would be a little easier.
Yeah.
Do you want
This one by yourself?
Yeah, try this one on your own. Let's see if we get the same answer.
When we do it.
Oh, you want to solve it?
No, like after we do it. So I can see if I got it.
Wait, is it always over 2?
It's always over 2.
Oh, since it's a -4. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, good. What's wrong? Okay. I won't look. Did we get it? Good. Okay. You got it set up right? Well, looks good. Just put it in parentheses.
Right?
No, not you. Yours is fine.
I just have a question.
Yeah.
Wait, so I did this, right?
Uh-huh.
I would do so 5% was 1, so
Good.
1/2.
Yep. Did you get it, Max?
Yeah.
You got it? Did you get it? 1/2, comma,
20/2.
20/2, which is
1/10 or 10/10.
10, just 10.
It would only cancel out if you do minus -4. 5 plus negative.
Does it matter if I keep the
Doesn't matter. Okay.
Because you're adding it together.
All right, find the coordinates of x if y is the midpoint of xz. Let me explain. So here's x. Y is right in the middle. So these two are congruent. And this is z. So if x is -1, 6, and z is 2, 8, what we want to find out is what's right in the middle of that. Right. What, in other words, what's the average of -1 and 2? What's the? Or, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. Sorry. Wait. I wrote that down backwards. Sorry, guys. This is supposed to be the -1 and 6.
Oh.
Sorry. The y is the midpoint this time. Sorry. What we're trying to figure out is the first point. Okay.
Just find the average of
So let's see.
-1 and 2, and then 6 and 8, right?
Let's see. To go from 2 to -1, what would you have to do? Subtract how many? We'd have to subtract 3. So to get to the next point, we also want to subtract 3. So if you take -1 and subtract 3, this will be -4. Because this has to be right in the middle. So if I subtract 3 to get from here, I would subtract another 3 to get that first coordinate.
You just did the average.
I know, but this time I gave you the average, and you have to figure out the other
So then
endpoint.
this one would be subtract 2. Then subtract
Okay, so let's see. To get from 8 to 6,
minus 2.
I subtract 2. So then to get from 6, I have to subtract another 2, so that would be 4. So my coordinates are negative 4, 4. It's okay, for ordered pairs, we don't have to put the equals. Okay, it looks like we're running a little short on time. Let's see here. We want to find PR if Q is the midpoint. So what are these two segments? Aren't these two congruent?
Yes.
Anybody have an idea how to set that up? Well, if this is 6 minus 3x, what's this have to be?
6.
Oh, 6 minus 3x.
Aren't these identical?
Yeah.
Okay, so what would 6 minus 3x plus 6 minus 3x have to equal? Good, 14x plus 2. You see how the whole line is 14x plus 2?
Oh,
Right, makes sense?
this geometry.
Well, we always have the geometry aspect, but then we have to apply solving equations. So here we have 12 minus 6x equals 14x plus 2. What would we do from here?
Solve.
I'd probably add 6x to both sides, and I would subtract 2. So we get 10 equals 20x. Sorry, I know we're going a little fast. I'll post the screencast, so if there's something. 1 over 2. Now, we didn't ask for x. What did we ask for? PR. PR is 14x minus 2, right? So we have 14 times a half
Wait, PR is 14x minus 2 plus 2.
plus 2, yeah. And so
It's 9.
we get 9.
Why? Oh, you plug it in?
Yep, just plug it back in. Okay, that's often what we'll have to do. We'll have to plug it back in. Okay, last one here. Find the measure of PQ if this is the midpoint. So what do we know about these two segments?
So what's the midpoint?
They're congruent. So I have 9y minus 2 has to equal 14 plus 5y. So this one's a little bit different setup.
14 plus 5y is the whole line.
Nope, it's just that segment
And how are they congruent?
because it's the midpoint. So we get 14y. We can go back over this, or you can come see me at bonus.
Midpoint or we're finding what?
In this case, we're finding out the length of y, and then it says find the measure of PQ. What's PQ though? 9y minus 2. So what is y?
34.
Good. So we get 36 minus 2 is 34. Okay. Sorry, that ended a little bit quickly.